A lot of our time is going to be spent outside of the classroom, and there are options and there are alternatives for how you want to recreate, how you want to have a good time. You deserve to have a good time when you're here.
Especially for like football, some stuff has ended for a lot of teams. It's like we go lift and sometimes we want to shoot hoops.
I just want to go shoot a basketball around,
Right.
And I don't want to go out to a party.
Alfred feels like somewhere you can walk around at any time of day. It felt like kind of the world was out of order for that to happen here. We were in mid-October, and we had an incident that everyone is familiar with where Derek Correa was assaulted.
When you have something like that happen, it's scary.
Hello, welcome back. This is Real Talk. I'm Maddie, joined again with Julius Kordakowski.
Hi guys.
And today we have special guest Greg Salmons. Hi there, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm good, thanks. Can you tell us what your position is here at Alfred?
Sure. My name is Greg Salmons. I'm the Vice President for Student and Employee Affairs, which I usually have to explain to even my own mother, like what that means. My job here is primarily to make sure that the student experience and the services that you have that are kind of the non-academic and outside of the classroom, that those are quality and that those are so everything that you have, everything from programs to taking advantage of services in health and wellness or residential life, the police department, all of those things are things that I help administrate to make sure that the quality is there so that you feel proud of the time you had here as students.
So you could say you manage a lot of the extracurriculars on campus?
Yes, absolutely. So you want to make sure, because it all ultimately culminates, like regardless of what we all choose for an academic program, a lot of our time is going to be spent outside of the classroom. And so everything from what types of programs and activities we have to what services you may need to make sure that your time here and your life here is high quality is all part of the work that I do.
Yeah, like the rock wall, the campus store, health and wellness.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Making sure that the quality of those things will match your expectations, and so that you feel like this is a home away from home.
Yeah, that's awesome because as college students, sometimes we forget that you come to college and it's not all just education,
Right.
We like to go out and we like to have fun.
Yeah, as you should.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we love doing it on campus as well.
Yes.
So
yeah.
we're very, very fortunate to have somebody like you in that position.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So today we are kind of getting back into talking about the violence and the assaults that have been happening off campus in the village of Alfred. But we do have some really impressive statistics based on the decrease in the amount of calls. Julius, can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
that?
I can. So luckily we've had a over 50% decrease in calls about assaults off campus. So that's really good to hear after that really tough that month period.
Yeah, but it's really awesome because now we get to hear from an official at Alfred what the campus has done in compliance with that and to work on getting that decrease. So can you tell us a little bit about what the campus has done, but also what you have done partnered up with the Village of Alfred Police Department and University Police?
Yeah, sure. So I think back we were in mid-October, and we had an incident that everyone is familiar with where Derek Correa was assaulted, and when that happened, that was so atypical and so unusual for this community. It was certainly nothing.
It was heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it's unlike anything that I really have seen or experienced. And I've worked at Alfred for 27 years, and so it was unique in the way it really, I think, shook a lot of us because it just didn't feel. It felt like kind of the world was out of order for that to happen here. I don't know if like feeling safe or feeling at home or how much like kind of the way the campus feels is a part of a decision to attend at Alfred, but I've always felt that Alfred feels very safe, and it feels like somewhere
Absolutely.
that you can walk around at any time of day and feel feel very safe. And we want that, and we want everyone to feel that way. I think it's well earned in terms of being a place that people do feel safe. So this was very shocking when this happened, and we had there were clearly over the course of a couple of weeks in that same time period, there were a couple other things that really had people feeling really, really uneasy about what was the climate like, particularly off campus, downtown and in certain areas. And so the things that I think happened in response to that were things you may have noticed, like stepping up. There were stepped up patrols by both university police,
Oh, yeah.
the village police, the sheriff's office brought over additional patrols to help just make sure that people would see that there was a strong presence of law enforcement to make sure that people did feel safe. Several other things happened. There were everything from increase of meetings that we had with students, programs we had. There's a program called Operation Safe Campus that was offered in residence halls. There was Student Conduct Office did actually like a kind of a take on the Jeopardy game show and did a Jeopardy program around how well people did know the student code of conduct. That was done in residence halls. The self-defense classes, which have been offered multiple times, but in this particular one, they set an attendance record of people registering. They had over 20 students sign up for one of the self-defense classes that was happening. Partnership with Student Senate for a safety event where they had tables to both provide information, but also they gave out some safety-oriented giveaways. So those are all things that happen, I think, in that immediate time right afterwards. And I think also, as much as all those things I think help, I think the biggest thing that was helpful was that a critical mass of students, so the majority of our students really, I think, started to make decisions about, what it is they wanted to do, what it is they wanted to see, because ultimately this, Alfred is your campus. And so
one could say we're getting into some more student leadership, bringing about some better change.
Yes, I think so. I mean, I really think regardless of whether we add patrols or whether we have events that are safety oriented or we offer those classes, I think ultimately the biggest change that happens is when the students, because this is your college, it is your campus, when you decide you want it to be a certain way, it will be that way. And so I think that the biggest change we've seen that I think I would attribute to those numbers that you provided, I think is something that the students have done. I think it's something
real ownership over what's going on here.
Yeah, and a really ownership of what kind of climate, what kind of culture, do the students want as part of your experience? Because it all factors into the experience that you're going to look back on after you graduate.
Absolutely. And it's unfortunate. You had mentioned, this is our community. And you talk to a lot of students that come from bigger cities. To come to Alfred because it's a small town, you know what to expect. But then we see situations like violence and assault, and we're taken back. We're taken back away from the idea that this is a small town community where things like that don't usually happen. But then it does happen and something clicks in us and we're like, we want to get that back.
It's scary, I remember hearing about it in the library, actually, the same day that we started to report on all this, to talk about it. There were two girls in the library talking about it, how they weren't wanting to go out because, when you have something like that happen, it's scary.
But lucky for us, again, we have somebody in a position where we can set up different events on campus rather than going out, rather than frequenting GJs and different parties in the village. So can you tell us a little bit about more in depth about the events that go on campus to kind of get students away from the nightlife, the town nightlife, and going out like that?
Yeah, one of the things that we've I was mentioning kind of very safety specific things that have been done, where it be stepped up patrols or those things, but kind of recognizing one of the things that we want to do is make sure that there are options and there are alternatives for how you want to recreate, how you want to have a good time. You deserve to have a good time when you're here. So one of the things that we've been trying to do and emphasize and kind of build on is creating more late night activities and options. So and that's for two reasons. One reason is like you mentioned, people talking in the library, feeling like, hey, I may not feel super safe right now about going out. And how do we support people who are looking for an option to be somewhere that they will feel safe?
They want an alternative.
Yeah, and then also for people that are feeling like I don't want to, I want to make sure that I'm doing something, but I want to make a healthy choice around either something that it could be fitness related late at night. It could be just something that they haven't tried before that they think is fun. So we want to make sure we're providing options that will give people that opportunity, again, to kind of choose your own experience, but actually, something that you're going to enjoy and take something from. So to that point, we've been focusing on multiple offerings that hopefully could appeal to, not everything will appeal to everybody, but trying to find multiple offerings so something will appeal to you. So there's been a campaign called Up Late at the State,
Oh, I
and
like that.
that has been
sounds like
managed
fun.
Sounds great.
through the Student Engagement Office, and they've been putting those advertisements out both on Pioneer Link, and then you'll see that on the digital boards around the campus, and it is everything from events with music to recently our coordinator of recreation, Brooks Diana, she organized, for example, archery tag, which was an event they had up in the gym. I think
Can you tell us a little bit about archery tag?
Yeah, certainly. So archery tag is it is what you think. It's bows and arrows, but the arrows have kind of a big marshmallowy safety tip
Yeah, like
on
some
the.
foam. Like
Yes,
Almost
exactly.
like a Nerf gun.
Exactly, yes. So it doesn't, I'd say it's way less, it doesn't really have any kind of pain. Like I feel like paintball can
Yeah,
hurt.
no,
It
yeah,
can
paintball-
hurt.
paintball, you get welts. Like
Yes.
the
Yeah, they
clothing
leave,
is
like-
thin.
Yes. So same fun factor, but like welt free. You don't end up with the welts, and you do wear like kind of a mask similar to
Like
paintball.
a face guard kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Is it like
So
like a
it's-
catcher's mitt, like in baseball? So
Similar,
something
yeah,
like that?
similar. And so it feels it ends up feeling kind of like a cross between paintball and dodgeball, but with bows and arrows. And so that's something that so we ended up with over 30 people that came to that. And so that we know, okay, that one is kind of what I'll call a winner. So that's one
A
that we're like,
winner.
all right,
Absolutely,
let's
yeah.
offer that again. And as much as if there's demand for it, that's something we want to do. Another thing we're doing, because we know some people just want to either shoot hoops or just use the gym. So we're extending the hours of the Orvis Gymnasium out to as late as 1 a.m. So we're currently making sure we've got some staff to help just issue out the sports
Yeah.
equipment, issue out basketballs. And so that's coming very, very soon to be able to have
Especially,
those
like-
extended gym
Is that
hours.
going to be in like the next semester, like the spring semester?
For sure, but we're actually going to try to have that ready to go even before this semester.
Oh,
This-
wow. Try to
do that as
Next week.
soon
So
as
next week,
possible.
yes.
I'm sure that would help
Um,
so much during finals week. Like just
Yes.
going and getting
Yep.
some stress relief out at night.
Because
Yeah.
especially for athletes, like we're in the downtime, especially for like football. Some stuff is ended for a lot of teams.
Oh
Yes.
So
yeah.
it's like we go lift, and sometimes we want to shoot hoops.
Right.
And like
Yes.
you go back to your room after class and you're studying for a while. You've got a final the next day. Like I just want to go shoot a basketball around.
Right.
And I don't want to go out to a party. I've got work to do.
Yeah.
Go shoot a
sometimes-
basketball for half an hour. Go back
yeah.
to study.
Yeah.
I like
Sometimes
that
you
a
need a
lot.
new spot.
And some of
But
it's to the weather. Like I realize right now it is getting.
Yeah.
We've had a fairly mild. I feel like the fall has been kind of mild, but I do recognize this time of year, like not wanting to actually necessarily have to go terribly far.
yeah.
And keeping distances a little closer. So that's one of the other hopes is that by doing this, we're kind of providing options where you don't have to kind of trek quite as far to get to something fun to do.
Yeah. I mean, especially like staying on campus, it's lit
Yeah.
up, it's easy to walk around on. But I did want to mention all of these events that you're listing. You can find these on the Cork app, right?
Yes, it's correct.
So if you don't know what this is, there's a bunch of posters around. You can download it. It's called Cork. It gives a lot of information about different events and things that are going on around campus, either that week or later in the future. So definitely look into that if you are trying to find other things to do. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Real Talk. Join us next time. We're going to get an update on Derek Correa's current situation and some new initiatives happening on campus.